So let's talk on the publisher side first. Anna and Steve, love to hear your voice or like your view on SGE. What's gonna happen there?
Thanks, John. I wish I had a crystal ball. What I would say is, thinking ahead to SGE arriving in the UK, I just think, to me, it's really made the audience team and by extension the newsroom really focus back on like what our priorities are and what's going to make us different and how we're going to add value to our content and make us stand apart. So that's something that, regardless of what happens or how far it rolls out or how much it kind of eats into news consumption via Google, that's something that I think at any point is best practice and something that we should really be just focusing on and making sure that we are really true to our kind of expertise, authoritativeness, trust, all those key elements that we already know about. But I just think it's really time to sort of focus and just ask those hard questions. When the SEO team makes a pitch, it's always like, second guess it. Ask of it, have high expectations and set the bar really high. So that's something that we're doing in preparation, very specifically, just to kind of get into the mindset of we're a subscription model and adding value. That's really important to us.
Thank you.
Yes, I agree. I think there's going to be a common theme here. Absolutely, this is the moment to really address the audience needs, model, to talk to your editorial teams, to get the data analysts in. I've already communicated to senior leadership that this is a risk. We don't know when it's going to drop here in the UK. We don't know how it's going to roll out. With the communications over the last couple of years, my gut feeling is that when it does roll out, it's probably going to hit publishers hard before it gets better. So on that note, as Anna says, it is the time to really work out how to adjust to this, but also more importantly, what is the distinct offering that you have for your audience, and so that's a lot of introspection now over the next few months before it rolls out, or when it rolls out. Okay.
And Lily, from your agency perspective, probably you get a lot of messages from clients and others. It was like, oh, can you evaluate what's gonna happen to our content or our traffic? So what's your view on SGE?
Yes, we do get a lot of messages like that, indeed. So I think my perspective has changed. I think Barry and myself, for example, were pretty obsessed with SGE day to day, every single day last year, and all the different ways that it was changing. And my perspective changed quite a bit. I mean, the entire time I've had a consistent skepticism about how feasible this actually is for Google and all the potential risks with launching this, not only from an information accuracy perspective, from a relationships with publishers and site owners perspective, but most importantly from a profitability perspective for Google. I just don't really see a way that Google could make this product profitable for them, which is obviously the most important thing for them. So I don't know that we've seen a lot of evidence that those fundamental issues have been solved throughout the course of the year. And if anything, I would say we've seen the opposite, where Google's now starting to trend more towards we can do these other cool things with AI, but SGE is kind of like this background thing that some people have access to. So I don't know. It's hard to say. It's really hard to kind of plan for something that may or may not happen. But yeah, I think, depending on the category of the type of content that you create and how your site makes money and how your site drives traffic and everything, it's very important to be in Google Labs, test SGE, see what it looks like for your industry. And then I think a lot of the time it's seeing how Google sources the information in SGE and thinking about how you can structure your content to better answer those questions.
Well done. Barry, what do you think? You see it all, right? From all different perspectives.
I mean, everybody said everything. I mean, again, I think when will Google launch this is the big question. Will Google launch this is the big question. I think they just have it in their back pocket waiting for, do we need to launch this? I think, because like Lily said, it's hard for them to monetize this. I mean, if publishers are concerned about getting clicks to their website, advertisers are going to be concerned about getting clicks to their websites. And if advertisers are concerned about getting clicks to their website, Google's concerned about their revenue because they make all their money from people clicking on those links. So it's in their back pocket. They had it there because Bing really made them do that. Bing's market share really did not change at all with this change with their Bing Chat or now Copilot. And even Bing is like redirecting how they're doing search with AI. I mean, you see now it's all focused on Copilot and their Microsoft, products in their different areas. They obviously have Bing Chat, which is now being renamed Copilot. So it's very interesting to see, like, everybody thought AI would take over search and so forth. There are use cases for it, significant ones. But I never really, like, when I started using it, I'm like, I want to go back to search. Even today, I still want to go back to search for most of my things. Maybe I'm old. I have a lot of gray hair. But I do think that I use AI all the time for certain things, but not for core search. So we'll see. I mean, it's very interesting to see what impact it will have. I think all the publishers are talking about the same things they said beforehand. Like, we need to make content that is engaging for users, that people want to consume, that people want to pay for, that people want to come back and read more of. That's not going to change even if Google launched SGE. It's the same thing. So it's exciting times. I love this change. I love, when Google throws a wrench in things, and they do that all the time. So I think that's why we are in this business, because we love the change.
Oh, absolutely. I think some SEOs complain about there's so much incoming, but this is actually SEO, just like a part of what we do. So I think we all agree that we're not sure if Google will launch it, if they launch it, right? They have it there somehow. We agreed that it didn't make any kind of meaningful change in market share for Bing. I think it was like less than 1%. So people didn't just move from search to using like AI and SGE, right? And we also agreed that this is the very first product that actually may hurt Google revenue, right? Because if you think, if I am a dad with 3 kids, ages 1, 2, and 3, who wants to go on a vacation at a beach, at a warm place in December, right? This kind of journey will take me maybe like 200 searches, thousands of ads I will see through this journey for like 3 or 4 weeks. And if SGE can solve this very quickly for me in 2 to 3 searches, then all this revenue lost on Google end, right? The whole journey. I mean, it's a good thing, but this is the very first product I think Google launched that actually can hurt their bottom line or can hurt their main display ad revenue. Okay, so we're good. Now, let's assume that Google will launch this. Do you think the impact on different types of content will be the same? So if you think about evergreen content or news content or different types of content, affiliate content, do you think the impact will be the same? And it's open to everyone.
I don't think it will. I mean, from everything I've seen so far, and to me, it's just, there's a common sense element as well. And, I fear more for the evergreen side of things, for typing in that kind of, best X. I've seen so many examples of that where, the generative search results, look more useful and promising. And it feels like more competition when it comes, compared to obviously breaking and developing news stories, but where, actually what you might be getting some value from is a kind of, a comment piece or, a perspective on something that's happening, so I feel like, that's something that I would be more, and I am more concerned about. And that's something when I'm thinking about kind of planning around evergreen strategy, that's where I'm like, okay, this is where we need to see, and we might need to revise what we're doing more radically.
Yeah, I agree with that. The evergreen.
Thanks, Anna. What do you guys think?
Yeah, the evergreen is an area I think under threat, but ultimately it's also around any area of journalism where it's being replicated by your competitors. Really, anything that AI can do where you're not adding your point of distinction, then that is a threat area. We know it's been there for a while, but yeah, this is another reminder that we need to always push towards original journalism rather than just doing what our competitors are doing. There's a certain journalism, obviously, when a story breaks, the proof of how how good your editorial is, the information that you can communicate to audiences in the moment. But there's a lot of replication still out there. on other topics.
Do you think as the world gets lazier, people get lazier? They don't really care about that, journalism. Do you think they just they don't really care?
Yeah, look, you've hit the nail on the head there, Barry. It's about being able to communicate the value of journalism. What is it bringing to you outside of the pure information update? So, we've got a lot more to do it, and it's a lot more than just marketing campaigns. So a lot of that is around transparency, showing how things are worked, but ultimately it's around really helping simplify complex details.
I mean, if you want to talk about this, Gen Z, 60% of all the news they get it from TikTok. So that's a whole different challenge coming very soon towards us, right? But no, yes, I totally agree. It's what's unique about the publication. But at the same time, like, I was tracking SGE for a while because, like, with NewZdash, it's like real-time news SEO, and we start finding that I thought that SGE will never appear for news or sensitive topics, right? In the beginning, that's what I thought. And I start seeing SGE appearing as like a shrunk or like collapsed for like very recent news, like within 6 hours, right? So I remember Kevin McCarthy when he was out from the Senate or Congress or whatever, right? Then you start seeing the SGE is like, hey, would you like to see what happened? And I click on it. I was like, it give you exactly 6 hours ago, so and so happened, and I even tweeted it. So it's available. It can understand the news, earthquakes, all that stuff. So it's a little bit scary, to be honest with you. What do you guys think, Barry, and Anna, Steve, Lily?
I want to jump in with one thing that I think it's hard to anticipate, but I think it will. If SGE rolls out in its current form, it will happen, which we don't talk about as much in the SEO industry, but the pushback from Google searchers, and not to mention the news publishing industry as a whole, which Google already has this tenuous relationship with around the world. But like, I think a lot of people that use Google wouldn't want to get their news information directly from Google. I think there would be a level of pushback after a while where it's like, why is Google telling me this? And what is their agenda? I think that some people many people do like to go to the news sources that they're loyal to and that they believe, like, see them and understand them. And I don't know that Google would necessarily be a good reflection of that for many different people. So even if Google did push out SGE in a way where they're summarizing news, for example, you can't imagine that they wouldn't at some point get in some kind of PR scandal where people are not happy with the way that SGE operates.
Okay.
How's that different than today? Every person I know is like Google, like either on the liberal side or conservative side. Like Google's always on the other side, or Google's on that side, and they're always fighting. I know, John, we probably had these conversations before. It's like everybody's like constantly arguing, like, go to Google News and Google's pushing Fox too much, or go to Google News and Google's pushing CNN too much. And it depends on what, it's all depends. So it's nothing really new, and it's also new. So it's just funny to, like, over the past 20 something years, it's like the same conversation with new technology, and the same conversation with new technology, and somehow we all survive, and we're okay.
Well, I think one of the possible threats is again around this notion of simplifying the complex that SGE could do very well. So let's take a key election issue like immigration. So last week, I spent the last 5 days just trying to find some simple numbers in the UK with regards to net immigration and illegal immigration. It's a part of research for, it's one of the biggest topics, particularly in the UK. People are becoming very much more outspoken in that area. It's a huge issue. Okay, so I go to Google, try to find those numbers. It's very difficult to find those numbers. You're either sent to anti-immigration blogs, charity websites, or you might be sent to